we're going to begin our Pilates practice, as we often do, or first thing in the morning, with a review of standing posture. So please make sure that your feet are grounded below the hip bones. You might want to give yourself a little wiggle, maybe a little pelvic circle, just to relax as you come into your practice. And then we're going to start with alignment breathing, centering now. So find that your crown feels well stacked and lengthening away from the tailbone. Level off your pelvis, and then just gentle inhale and exhales as you roll the shoulders. Inhale as you shrug the shoulders up to the ears now, and exhale as you roll them off. Remember that you can breathe out through the mouth if that helps you stay connected. So inhale, shrug, and exhale, release. Literally gathering the shoulder blades as they draw up to the ears, and then you're releasing the blades down the back. And just begin to start to feel the light tone from the breastbone to the navel, from the navel to the root, and across the hips. It's almost as if your right hip is drawing towards the left hip. And then release the palms out. Then feel the shoulder blades broadly down the back. Your chin is level, eyes to the horizon. Make sure there's no locking at the knees. Big breath in. We call this morning sunrise arms in Pilates. And as you exhale, we're going to roll the arms outwards the same way that they came overhead. So as you exhale, shoulder blades down the back, armpits draw to the hips. Follow the length of your breath, please. So 2 more. Breathing in as you come out in a big, wide circle, all the way to the lifting length of the in-breath. Elbows can soften. Shoulder blades will glide up the back, but try not to crush the neck. Slight pause. Exhale as you draw the arms down. And then bring the fingertips onto the sides of the hips or thighs, or you can even place the index and the second finger onto the frontal hip bones. And as you release your right heel away in what we know is heel raising, just have a little glance down and make sure that all toes are spreading. And then transition to the second side. And you know that this is Pilates walking on the spot. And this is just to fire up the strength in the ankles, and also to allow you to slide up an imaginary wall and keep your postural muscles just supporting the whole of your body as it comes into momentary balance. There's a little momentary transition as you rise and then release. Slide up the wall and then release. And this is known as Pilates walking on the spot. I'm going to start getting just a little bit faster if you wish to. Try not to lose the good imprinting of your feet. So sometimes it's really good to slow down. If you've got a mirror in your practice room, gaze at the mirror. Try not to lean to one side. Notice whether your feet have a tendency to supinate, in other words, roll to the outside edges, or to pronate and roll in and down only to the big toe base and perhaps into the forefoot. Just a nice, easy start to the practice this morning. Try to keep that front line internally engaged. So all the muscles, front, back and sides of the torso are hugging, light tone on the gluteals, and try not to claw the mat with your toes. Now and then you might want to check that your feet are still parallel with the toes facing forward. And as I say, your pace might have been a lot faster, but we tend to use this practice for up to about 2 minutes of continuous walking on the spot. Just really starting to vitalize the muscles of the legs, trying to work with your pelvic stability and the pelvic core. And then ceasing that action, give yourself a little wiggle, a little pelvic circle. We're going to come into a balance. Now, if you wish to add more tone to the arms, perhaps pick up your weights, 1 or 2 kilos, and moving the arms out into the lateral, Pilates arm laterals. So if you'd like to use weights, you're going to be rolling outwards with the arms, lifting the arms and then squeezing back on the exhalation. And we're going to be using that action into the balance, which is the Pilates clock. So as you start to bear weight through your left pelvic half down into the left leg and engage that side, heel the right heel away, tap the right foot forward as if that is 12 noon. Again, if you wish to bring the arms out into a T or a low V, do so now. And then tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1, 12, and release. Okay, so essentially you are tapping those points on the clock face. Prepare your steady gaze, tap the toe at 12 noon, try not to lean back, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pause, 5, 4, 3, 1, 12. And just see if you can tap now for a few more rounds. And this is also good for mobilizing your hip, strengthening the standing leg. You may not be completely perfect on your tapping, that's absolutely fine. Just coming up to the last one now. And then release. Maybe a little bit more of that walking out. And then again, have a look at the feet and toes. So know that when you push the ball of the foot in, that is like coming into an energizing action for the inner arch. And now curl your toes like a ballerina and press the front of the toes into the mat, into what's known as plantar flexion of the foot. So just massage through the front of the foot and the toes, then into the tucked toes. Press across the ball of the foot, that is the transverse arch. You can do this in all different directions, of course. And then curl again, press into the front of those toes. And then release. And then we'll do the same thing on the left foot and toes. So tuck toes, push into the transverse arch, press into the ball of the foot, spread out toes. Find some different angles. And then curl that left foot, curl all the toes, almost as if you could pick up a pencil and then press into the fronts of the toe knuckles, the toe joints, into plantar flexion, into that belly foot. We are not going to stand on point, but you can feel how strong that is for the muscular fascia in the front line. And then shake that foot out. Shake that foot out. So refresh your standing stance. Center line is firm. Lateral arms if you wish. Weights are keeping tone through that upper body. And then tap the left foot forward, just a small distance, that's your 12 noon. And now we're going 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Remember to breathe. Notice how the muscles of the gluteal, especially in the hip extension, is your 9, 7, 6. When you come around to 7, 8, 9, you start to feel the muscles of the gluteals engage. Just keep breath happening. Pace is quite slow, moderate and measured. Remember to breathe. And also maybe soften, now we get a little challenge. If you soften the standing leg knee, if you can, the knee tracks over toes 2 and 3, you can find a slightly different action as you move up and down. So I'm just showing you a slightly different challenge into that balance there. And that's probably enough, about 5 or 6 repetitions on that side. Okay, just walk it out, maybe little dancing hips. I'm going to swap to the lower weights now, but you can, of course, practice the whole of this session without any weights, and you can make small fists if you wish to. Nice deep breath in and out. Again, float the arms out to laterals. Check in with your feet. Strong lower structures, nice energy through the hips and legs. And then rolling the circles backwards. So arm circles backwards, about the size of grapefruits. So we're going for about 20 circles. Remember to breathe, move, counting your circles, straining in the neck, and adding a little bit of extra tone to the ribs as you corset inwards. And now flow forwards for 20. The frame of the body stays strong. Make sure you're not locking out those knees. Trying to keep the circles even from the shoulder joint all the way through to that imaginary drawing of the circles at the end of the palms. Release, roll that away, and then float the arms forward, palms face. Pick up the right heel and bring the hip and thigh and knee into knee fold balance. So now we're going to trace the clock face with the arms. So as you float the arms forward, of course that's the 12 noon. I'm going to go 1, 2, and then come to 3, 2, 1, 12. 11, 10, 9. And trace your way back, and then release. Same simple practice, second leg. So strengthening the right pelvic half. Try to keep the hips level, so no sinking and no hiking of the hip, pulling the hip up. Strong, active standing leg. Float your left toes above the mat, pointed foot or knee fold. Here's your 12 noon. Going 1, 2, and swing round to 3 and see if you can pause there. And then slowly come back. 2, 1, and 12. 11, 10, and 9. Hover strongly, and then slowly come back. And release. Walk it out. And then finally, one more balance today. We're going to trace the clock face around in a circle in front of the Pilates body. Now you can do this by just holding one weight together, or the 2 weights if you're using dumbbells. You can bring that circle slowly round each part of the clock, going clockwise around from 12, of course 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then you can choose to go around the anti-clockwise when you balance on your other leg. Okay, so Get ready for strong practice in balance. Again, stand firmly into your left pelvic half leg, left leg, and float the right away. And your leg can point like feather point balance, or again, keep the knee soft. Or another interesting practice to try will be to bring the foot and toes behind you so that you just come into a mild hip extension, and that will challenge your pelvic stability in a different way. And here's your 12 noon, and as you look towards the distance, trace your circle around the clock and stopping back at 12 noon. And then release. So it's really that just sensing in your mind a little moment of tapping around that clock face. So remember, pelvis level, causative muscles, floating the left knee forward, or arrow feather point leg reaches up. Or I would suggest an option today of just bringing that left leg behind you, a little toe tap behind, as you stay steady and strong without rigidity, anti-clockwise as you move down to 9, 8, 7, 6 with your arms, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 12. And release. What's important is that you recognize also the role of the adductors, so the inner thighs, in keeping that strong energy. So place your weights carefully down by the mat, either side of your mat, and then come to the back of the mat, come to the back of the practice mat. You're going to flow down now into Pilates plank. So gaze down at the toes, as you release the weight of the head, start to pull the breastbone in, pull the belly in, slide down, let the palms slide down the legs, guiding your body to center. Hang loose, shake out the head. Inhale, exhale, micro bend the knees or start to lengthen the legs. And then walk the hands forward and press the palms underneath the shoulders. Squeeze your legs together. Press into those forefoot transverse arches, bending the toes into a full tuck. And then stack the torso above the practice mat, crown lengthens away, push the earth away. And breathe. Now you may want to kiss the knees down and readjust your position. If you're putting your knees down in knees down plank, make sure not to sag that pelvis and drop out of your centered strength. Bring the hands possibly slightly wider than shoulder wide or even mat wide, and as you raise back into plank for all body strength, bring your feet hip or shoulder wide, and then strengthen as you tap your left shoulder with the right hand. Try not to twist the pelvis away, and then tap right shoulder with left and go to the opposites. So tapping the alternate shoulders, so you try and keep your chest and pelvis level with the mat. So right taps left, left taps right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down, shell stretch. And then peel back into your all fours. And as you find a tabletop back, lovely breath in. As you exhale, hollow the abdomen, flexing your spine, tuck the tailbone, engage the inner thighs, elongate the lumbar back, rounding. When you're ready, inhale and draw back to all fours. Breathe in, widen the rib cages. Exhale, hollow the abdomen. Draw up through the navel. Rounding. Find a little bit of tone on the gluteals and the inner thighs as you engage the pelvic core, the abdominal centers, and really awaken those abs a little bit more strongly. And then I want you to come down into side line. So it's at this point that you may want to reach for your folded blanket or for your stronger Pilates mat, your more squishy Pilates mat. And then first of all, find that little V shape in your legs. So right hip stacks above the left hip. And as you look at your heels, your 2 feet are stacked, heels are stacked, and the heels are approximately lined up with your sit bones. So for me, the legs are in a little V shape here. Pull your side waist away from the mat. Choose to cradle the head or use your block, cushion, or even place the ear along the extended arm. But make sure that you don't roll back. And then access the tone across the hip. So it's as if my right hip and your right hip is pulling towards that left hip. You can keep your right arm on top, or you can place the fingers in front. So as usual with Pilates method, the technique is enhanced when you allow and find time for correct alignment in your practice. So glue those heels together and then lift and float the top knee away. And gap between the knees is dependent on how you can feel the tonality across that T-zone, from the right hip to the left hip, and then from the navel down to the root. So this is our classical Pilates oyster. I want you to squeeze as you draw the thighs back together, and then engage these outside gluteals first, engage the outer hip, lift, and then squeeze. So the first 5, slow motion, inhale, exhale. You're starting to feel those muscles engage, and remember that your hips are fully stacked, trying to lift the side waist away. You've got your finger or fingers in front of the navel. It is very, very light. And try to keep your neck in a safe position and well aligned. Often with the cradle, it's just a little bit different for the neck. It's not quite in neutral. So you've got 5 clear, slow, intentional Pilates oysters for strengthening lower structures, for pelvic stability, and for gluteal conditioning. And now approximately 10-15 faster ones. So as the heels stay glued together, moving up and down, it's a micro movement now, as you go up and down, squeezing in and out for another 10-12 repetitions maybe, even 15, depends on your pace. Keep squeezing, squeezing, and engaging those muscles. And they're going to start to feel a slight burn. And your legs don't have to join together and literally stop moving, but if you need a little rest, it's absolutely fine. Refresh your center. Now, from there, move your legs into a 90-degree angle. So find a right angle, flex and extend up through the heels. So as you draw the ankles, the toes towards your shins, and bend at the ankles, bring the knees directly in line with your hips, so your femur bones and the lower legs, the shins, and into the ankles, allow that 90-degree angle. Again, oysters part 2. 10 repetitions here. Really squeeze the feet together. Release the shoulder blades down the back. Inhale, exhale. Try to draw the ribs in and observe as best as you can your neutral spine. So the knee releases away and squeezes back. And for some of us, it's literally only about 4 or 5 centimeters. The thing is that if you move into range that is too far, you're going to roll back and come off of your Pilates sideline technique. So counting, perhaps another 10 or 12 oysters here. Again, feeling, which is quite common in the L-shaped position or for the oysters. You might start to feel the action in a slightly lower area of the buttock. So this is targeting all around the gluteus maximus, minimus, medius. It's kind of like the back pocket muscles. Shoulder blades relax. Make sure the facial muscles are not tensing. And then take a moment to pause. Notice what's happening also around the outer hip. You give yourself a little massage. And then oysters 3, often known as clam shells or clams. Again, keep that foot actively flexed. Take the feet apart. So now the leg, the L of the top leg, is mirroring the L of the bottom, but you are not moving beyond that hip height. And then close and open. Close. Breathe. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Engage those muscles all the way along that chain. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then lengthen that top leg down the mat. Have a little look. Point the toes, so again into that ballet foot, flexing and curling the toes as if around a pencil. And then slow, medium pace, slow to medium pace, hip circles. Your right arm may just drape out of the way. If you feel very well balanced, float your right arm up to the sky. And then stir the circles in reverse. Keep strong in the torso muscles. And really focus on glossy, smooth, circular circles. Again, the circles are about the size of a grapefruit. Feel free as you close this side to take both arms overhead, rest the right toes down, and enjoy a sideline side opening. So you might see that I'm just taking hold of the skin and the forearm and the wrist of my top arm and just laying out and lengthening the right toes out of the right armpit and elongating the hip. And then release those efforts and slide onto your back body and find your supine semi, Pilates-based position. You may need to just walk your feet on or off of your squidgy blanket or folded mat. So check in with Pilates neutral pelvis by imprinting and arching, tilting and tucking that pelvis. And then as you float the arms to the collarbone height, just spread the fingers out and then close the fingers together. No weights for this one, the Pilates 100. So curl the upper body, neck and shoulders up, lengthen the tail and sacrum, heavy tail and sacrum, knees level. And as you reach the arms forwards, as you reach the fingers towards the heels, settle in, so shoulders draw down into the back and the navel is engaged. Back waist is pressing. Gaze up to sky or to tops of the knees. And when you're ready, start actively pumping the arms. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you will keep pumping for up to 10 rounds of breath. So it's 10 rounds of breath, or 10 times 10, which makes the 100 pumps. Just keep curling and maintaining that center strength. Now, as you pump and reach the fingers towards the heels, imagine you've got lots of bouncing balls underneath the arms from the armpit to the fingers, and you can keep the strength even throughout. And after your 10 breath cycles, or whenever you need to let go of that practice, release and roll the head left and right. And remember to breathe clearly. Fold both thighs into the chest. Feel how the spine just naturally spreads into the earth. Give yourself a little rock. And then with the knees joined together, feet and ankles softly pointed, draw a pelvic circle on the earth. Hug your knees in, hold the backs of the thighs or the fronts of the shins, and roll up to sitting, and then curl and see if you can stay balanced in the static position that we would use for rolling like a ball. Just see if you can lift those toes away, hollow out the belly. You can reach your arms forward, you can reach your arms out. If you have seated, placing those feet down. If you're seated, to place the feet down. Just again, hold the tops of the shins or behind the backs of the thighs. Curl off of the sit bones onto that tail and sacrum. Lift those toes up. Come into flexion. And then just see if you can balance. And then release to sitting. Slide the legs around and prepare for Pilates Oysters on your left hip and left gluteal. So line up the hips with the back of the practice mat. See that little V shape in the legs. So heels approximately in line with sit bones, and your knees just slope away from the hips. Important to fully stack the hips and find your left hip on top of the right, and elongate through the outer, under, top and bottom sides of the waist. So first of all, as you lift the top knee and squeeze back, perhaps take 5 reference moves just to make sure that you're able to contain this technique. You're not rocking, you want a smooth action, you do want the ribs and the torso engaged. You want to find in today's practice that technique and precision is one of your priorities. If it feels uncomfortable to have this cradled head position, lay along your extended arm or just place a little cushion between your right ear and your right upper arm. After 4, 5 or 6 reference moves, remember to activate the tone between the left and the right hip. So as you draw the thigh and knee down to kiss the bottom knee, squeeze across the pelvic core as well. And then 10 more, possibly 12, at a faster pace, but you are still controlling your Pilates oysters. So maybe finding 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have you remembered to tone the bottom gluteal as well? If that isn't enough for you, if you're not feeling the response in your body, add in more repetitions. Remember to breathe and soften the face. Now slide into Pilates Oysters number 2. So finding two 90-degree angles. So knees draw precisely, femur bones forward, out of your hips, and then the lower legs press out through the ankles to find the 90-degree angle or the L-shaped legs. Keep the heels glued together. And oysters number 2. Sometimes we are not symmetrical, oftentimes we're not. So you might find that this particular gluteal area responds more quickly. Perhaps it is stronger. Perhaps you are not noticing much response on this side. Have you remembered to activate strength between the pelvis and the navel, and to align and keep the crest of the ribs drawn in, shoulder blades down the back, fingers just lightly in front of you, or again, that left arm can rest on top of your torso. Paying attention to breathing as you complete oysters part 2, which is the L-shaped 90-degree legs. And as I say, you might want to be finding 10, 12 or 15 repetitions there. And then moving into clamshell, lift your top leg, again refresh the technique. So we're taking a close look at these oysters today. And then lower and lift. Remember, you're not lifting and opening out, otherwise you will rock that pelvis back. Can you find a good control of the functional muscles in this chain? So pelvis is strong, lower gluteals are engaged, light tone on the belly, and you're lifting and lowering the whole of that left leg, but retaining the L shape and breathing and concentrating. And in this way, Joseph Pilates said that all Pilates exercises should be conducted in a relaxed manner, which I think is really important to remember. You don't want to be strenuously aggravating the health of your body. It's about good circulation, good muscle conditioning, and concentration all the way through. So that might be enough of those clams or clamshells. And then if it is, reach that top leg out. Have a little look down the body, pull the waist away. Imagine you've got a little peach under the waist. Point the left toes and foot as if you're curling around a pencil. Shoulders down the back. And then slow circling or medium pace, about 5 hip circles in each direction. Imagine that along that leg, from the hip to the knee, from the knee to the ankle, that you have little hoops, and you're trying to keep the legs stirring perfectly within those hoops. After about 5 or 6, circle in the other direction. If you don't need these fingers in front of you to support your side lying, raise your left arm to the sky, and you can even extend the left arm. It does put a little bit more challenge onto the smoothness of the move here, just by having less contact through the earth. Less of your body is on the earth. You've got to use more of those postural muscles. So after your hip circles, you can keep that leg elevated if you wish, or you can soften the leg down to earth. Bring both arms overhead for a side lying side stretch. Reach the left toes out of it. Maybe pull the left arm over. Inhale, exhale. And then roll over and onto your front body. Pull your body along the earth so that you draw the breastbone out of the pelvis, level off the pelvis, and you can place the forehead on the pillow palms, tucking the chin, roll the shoulders back, or you can reach your fingers towards the toes in an arrow dart style position. Legs are hip wide, tops of the feet pressing down. Now, lightly lengthen, squeeze and lift both legs. And your face is gazing down to earth. Arms can rest or arms can be elevated. As I said, depends whether you've chosen to have the pillow palm position or the arms back. And then widen the legs to feel that they are mat wide. They must be low. Let the knees clear the mat. Notice the buttocks engage. And then squeeze the heels together for 1, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze and lengthen for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Resting, or flex the feet, push the feet away, toes flaring, and 10 heel beats fast. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lengthen feet and toes, press into earth. And release forehead to pillow palms, or if you're already there, now come into the upper chest and float the upper body away, reach the arms out like a T. And then swim the arms down to the earth. Reach the fingers towards the feet and toes, press the feet and toes into the earth, narrow off the legs to hip wide, and then press the arms up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And hands under shoulders, curl your toes, tuck the toes strongly, press up to Pilates plank, squeeze the feet, heels, ankles together, strong, powerful legs, strong shoulder girdle, into that pelvic girdle. Really feel the strength of the legs. This is a balance because you are balancing out all of those muscles from the crown to the tailbone and from the pelvis to the feet and toes. You can rest, knees down, raise your hips, slide your body into a down dog, and then choose now, everybody, to walk into your ragdoll. Shake out the head, release over the legs, press through the feet, hollow the belly, slide up and out of your roll down ragdoll. And we are back where we started. So you come back into your standing Pilates stance, shake out those knees. What has changed? What do you feel that's different? Find a standing side reach now. And to breathe and move, keeping the eyes on the horizon as you just slide to each side. And then, morning sunrise. Inhale the arms, big circle. Join the palms. Draw them down into your navel center. Think of all the good postural condition that you've given to your body today. And thank you so much for joining me. Have a lovely rest of your day.